I'd rather be alone than fake loved, you know, in this world where, especially social media, where Instagram, you gotta post everything you own or have so you can get likes and approval, you know what I'm saying? People wanna see what you got and then determining on what you got, that's how they see you, that's how they value you. But it's just like, what if I don't show anything, you know? What if I just enjoy my life, you know? And the reason why I brought up Instagram is because they only love you when they see what you obtain. You get what I'm saying? There's people in your life where they love you because of what you have, and then there's people in your life who love you because of who you are, you know? And me, I want the people who love me for who I am, because I'm not, I could change myself for the better, but I'm saying like, I'm going to be me, you know? Is there a level for improvement? Yes, but I'm going to be me at the end of the day, whether people love me or not, I'm me. And being fake love, that's all you see. That's all you see. And sometimes seeing that on social media or just anywhere, sometimes you could be wondering like, why am I so alone? Why am I this? But it's like, no. So you just, sometimes finding the people that love you for you take time. And that sound a little crazy, but it's true. To find those who are really for you, you really just have to take a deep dive in your life. Take a close look. Who's really here for me? You get what I'm saying? Who's really here because they value who I am, you know? And the people that has the fake love is, they're around when it's time to party. They're around when it's time to do fun things. But when it's time to grind, when it's time to get locked in, when it's time to really start denying your flesh and throwing away things that doesn't benefit you, they're nowhere to be found. And being alone come with a lot of I think once I start letting go of things, it came with being alone. When I stopped dealing with certain people, when I just stopped doing certain things that really didn't benefit my future. It cost me certain individuals in my life, and then it cost me certain friends. But then it showed me, these people were never really for me. Why? Because the real don't leave. The people that really love you, they don't go nowhere. They're gonna deal with you. And I think I'd rather be alone than feel lonely. Because feeling lonely and being alone is two different things. But if I know I'm gonna be alone because of who I am, and I know I'm making improvements in my life, and I know I'm striving for better, then I'm gonna be okay with it. I got peace. Rather than me being around a bunch of people who only love me for what I have, you know? And it's crazy that that's what Instagram turned into, a place where you just show what you have and show how much better you are than people. And that's crazy to me, you know? And even if I have more or some of it, I don't want to participate in that. Like, it's okay to post pictures and post your day to day, but then you got people who just going crazy, you know what I'm saying? And these for the ones, if you know, you know. But I'd rather be alone than be appreciated for what I have. And sometimes, like, when you post your accomplishments or what you have, then you have people who want to like your story. Then they reply, how you been, and they're just like, where have you been during the grind? If you know this, bro, nobody shows up when you're grinding. There's nobody around when you're grinding. Nobody's there. There is nobody but God. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes you got certain people who are there when you grind. But if you ain't here around the grind, if you ain't here around the process, bro, I don't need you around, period. You know what I'm saying? I can always love you from a distance. There's no hate. There's no bad blood. I just don't need you around me. The love is fake. And that's why, like, if we really start looking at the people in our life and really, just taking a close look at why they're here and when did they show up and why, you know? Don't fake love me, you know what I'm saying? Especially when we gotta die without these materialistic things, You can't take this stuff with you, And it breaks my heart how people will appreciate you for what you have than who you are. It's crazy. Not understanding that who I am is what got me what I have. You get what I'm saying? They're just like, man, I value true, genuine relationships. I'm pretty sure God wants a genuine, true relationship. He don't want our money. He don't want what we have. He want our time, our genuineness, our respect, our love. And it's just like, as I continue to just try to strive to be better for Christ or pray and read, I value genuine, true relationships. Things where we can mold each other, I can help you grow, you can help me grow, Just like the Bible says, iron sharpen iron. And man, it's just sad to see so much love for materialistic things. And if you don't have this, then you're not that type of person. When it's your character that gets you these things, When it's the way you think, the way you act. And it's just like, man, when are people going to realize it's who they are? That's why you have a lot of people with a lot of materialistic things, but their characters suck. You get what I'm saying? Because you gain so much of this that you forgot the true meaning of what it's like to really have it. You forgot who you are behind it. Who you are is more important than what you have. Because no matter how many times you lose it, no matter how many times you done lost, who you are can always help you bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Because of your character, your determination, your mindset. And if we just focus on the inner and not the outer, man. And that's why I say, like, even for this channel is not for everybody. These videos are not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to understand that. It's the truth. These videos are not for everybody. I'm still a growing individual who's learning, who's pursuing, who's just striving for greatness, And I just know deep down in my heart that these videos are not for everybody. That's why you're going to have some people who mock me. That's why I'm going to have some people in my comments saying, what is he talking about? That's why I'm going to have some people who just naturally get up and unsubscribe, And that's just something I had to face. These videos are not for everybody, And I'm somebody who want to be me. I want to be the person God called me to be. I don't want to fake it. I don't want to fake it till I make it. I don't want to pretend to be nobody. I want to be who God called me to be. Is there still molding that needs to be done? Yes. Is there still work that needs to be done? Things I need to work on? Yes. But I'm going to be who God called me to be. I'm not going to fake it. I'm just going to be me. And if I got people who rock with me, yep. And if I don't, I don't. When you've been through so much in this life, you don't care who rock with you or who don't, Because at the end of the day, we all have to die. We all have to leave this world. And a lot of these things that we want in life truly doesn't matter, The people in our lives matter more than the things we want in our lives. And if we focus on the people in our lives more than the things we want, I think we will probably get both, And I think what helped me become better as a person is that I don't just do things for myself, I think that's what creates the hunger more, is that I'm not just doing it for me, Yeah, you can go hard for you, but it's just like, okay, you do this for you, but then at what cost, A real man's going to think about his family, his friends, those who truly care about him, and it's to set an impact, to be something that others can learn from, can look at and follow the example of, and telling the truth these days, it really gets you disliked, And that's why I'm going to keep striving and doing my best to upload these videos and just continue to learn and be honest on this channel, you know. Um, you know, a lot of people are just not telling the truth on these apps. You know, they're not being honest with themselves as well, and they're not being honest for the people, you know. To me, I don't think everything is about money. Yes, do I need money to take care of my family? Yes, but when it comes to things where you can really help people, I don't think that's the time to think about money, you know, and yeah.